You feel it the minute you walk in the door. You feel like, whoa, this is a family. It's way bigger than an after-school program.
When Zane picks us up in the van, I already know it's like I would be going home.
At 7 Tepees, I'm proud to say that we are working with a population of students who need us, who appreciate us, and that respond to us. Because of the comprehensive work that we do over long term, we see our youth graduate from high school and transfer into adulthood, into a college or a trade school or a career.
The academic aspect is really important, and we support the youth, you know, by going to school, meeting with teachers, and being advocates. I think that that's, you know, a big part of this is advocating for the youth when their families don't know how to advocate.
Really helped me with transferring schools. My other school, I got a 0.0. I think it was all through my freshman year. The school dropped me, and if it wasn't for 7 Tepees, I would have just gave up and started working. First report card I got there was a 4.0, so it's from a 0.0 to a 4.0. So I was really juiced.
Like this year, I started off wrong at a 1.71, and I raised it to a 3.43. Tutors helped me when I felt like I can't do this no more. They would always be like, you can do this.
We were on the hike up to the top of Lassen. It was 22 middle school students who were going, and it was really hard. It was hot. It was a really difficult hike. And halfway up, they all started encouraging each other. At the end of that trip, when we came back to the city, we used that metaphor of how difficult it was to hike to the top of Lassen, to encourage them to do better in school, to encourage them to challenge themselves, to get better grades, to not be afraid to try out new things, and to be each other's allies and to push each other forward. At the end of the semester, when we came back at the second semester, we had over 13 students who had a 3.0 or above.
We have now 7 trips where we take students overnight into nature so they can experience each season of the year.
Looking good, Martine.
Not only do they experience the season, learn about the environment, learn about stewardship, they rise up and they teach each other. And now our programs out in nature are really taught from the older students to the younger students.
The trips are probably the best part of 7 Tepees because we're out learning about the environment in the environment. I think it's a lot better for a child to go out and experience it than to tell them, oh, this is something you should care about. And they see it and it's real, and then they take action and they do it.
Seven Tepees paired me up with this great mentor named Neil O'Shea. He's like a really big friend to me. He's like helps me in many ways. We share lots of things in common.
All of our middle school students are matched with a mentor for a year, and many of those mentorships have lasted all 7 years the students have been at 7 Tepees. And the mentors provide the students with somebody to talk to, someone who they can trust, new experiences, going to a ball game or the ballet together, as well as just a friend, anybody they can talk to about anything they want.
When I started mentoring this kid and realized what 7 Tepees did for these kids, here were kids in the ghetto, in the mission, walking by drug dealers, walking by the worst stuff in the world, but they came in here and this was a sanctuary that was peaceful, that was home.
The counseling program involves not only individual counseling, but also small groups counseling and a whole series of life skills classes. So we teach students how to make healthy choices around relationships, sexuality, how to solve problems, better communication with their parents, how to stay out of peer pressure situations, including alcohol, drugs, gangs, and how do you change your life if you have been involved with one of those things? How do you reframe it so that you see yourself as a growing individual?
We talk about how we can overcome those issues with the help of friends, with the help of our family members, with our own help, like building up our own self-esteem and what it means to have self-esteem, what it means to be accountable for yourself, for others.
we looked at the needs of the community and we realized that the 2 high schools closest to us could really use some support in the college counseling arena. Now, in the first year that we began services on these high schools, 300% more students applied to 4-year schools than had applied in the past. What that told me is that the youth want to go. They just didn't know how to do it, or they didn't believe they could.
I wasn't planning on going to college before I came here, just because it seemed like something that wasn't in my reach or wasn't possible for me to do, because nobody in my family before went to college, so I just thought, why would I?
And then go to sfsu.edu.
We do seminars, senior seminars, where people can learn about how do I pay for school, how do I apply for school, what to expect when I get there, who will I see, what classes should I take. We also talk about you know, the difference, like what it'll be like to move away from home.
That's the very, very biggest thing I'm grateful for. I was not going to apply to college. That was not my intentions, and I did, and you know, by some blessing, I was accepted and I was able to go to LA and learn a lot, you know, meet new people, be in a completely different city and be on my own.
That whole idea of unconditional love, Tepees is it. You know, we always talk about that. You always hear it in other programs, but I have seen people who were struggling, and I know for a fact that in other programs they would have been asked to leave. And 7 Tepees does the exact opposite. Let's do more for them. How can we get them back in here? This whole concept of an idea of unconditional love, it's real, and it really means something to us.